Hey, welcome to Nick's Corner. I'm Nick, wearing my wizarding robe in my corner. Also, spoilers ahead. Spoilers. Because I'm talking to you today about the third book in a series. Book review for A Storm of Swords by George R. R. Martin. I started doing book reviews on books that I've read in the past, and kind of just been hitting them up as I don't have some books that are like brand newly read to me to do a book review for you. So I wanted to continue on with my A Song of Ice and Fire series. And I honestly feel like Storm of Swords was the end of the first act of a 3-act structure. Because we had a lot of storylines come to an end, a lot of storylines get kicked up to go into the next act, and it just seemed to all come to a head, like in a nice little spot here. We have characters like Jaime Lannister, who has some big changes. Jon Snow goes through quite the trial and tribulation here, and let's just get into this a little bit better. George's character work in this book is bar none. I think the only book better than this one in the series is A Dance with Dragons. That is me personally. This character-driven story is phenomenal. The point of views we get, I think Jaime and Samwell entirely are the only two new points of views we have in this one. We still have Davos carried over from the first one, and I really enjoy that. I believe we have Daenerys conquering the free cities, as well as Balon Greyjoy died. He was the first, or I think he was the first of the 5 kings to get killed. But we also have Robb Stark meeting Jane Westerling, and this makes his alliance with the Freys very rocky at this point in time. A new betrothal is made for Sir Edmure Tully to go in and marry one of the Frey girls. Jaime gets his hand cut off, and this humbles him very well. He and Brienne are kind of bickering a lot, but then they start to really see the value of each other. I also believe that we have the Bear and the Maiden Fair in this, when Brienne ends up having to fight a bear, and Jaime hops in and saves her. Roose Bolton is the man in charge of Harrenhal when they show up there. So there is all that. It's very interesting. We also get the Red Wedding, which is maybe the biggest event in the books to date, where we had Robb Stark and his men and Catelyn Stark all get murdered by the Freys. Very hard part of the book, because a lot of stuff is going on now. Like, we have Arya with the Bannermen Without Banners. Bannermen Without Banners. What are they called? The Brotherhood Without Banners. And she meets the Hound. The Hound takes her to the Red Wedding. The Red Wedding ends up happening, and they have to get out of there. And the Hound ends up getting beaten in a battle, and Arya leaves him to die and goes across to Valyria. Well, across the ocean. And we get Sansa, who marries Tyrion. She is basically... Tyrion will not consummate the marriage without Sansa's approval, and Sansa will not consummate. So their marriage is pretty much null and void. And of course we get the Purple Wedding, where Joffrey ends up dying from Tyrell. Well, we think it's Tyrell. We don't know. The show says it's Tyrell. I thought it was Tyrell's as well, to get rid of Joffrey, to put in... I actually thought it was Tyrell and Tywin together, working together on it, so they could put Tommen in place on the throne, who would be a lot easier to manipulate and become a good king, as opposed to Joffrey, who's already stuck in his ways. So we finally got to see Joffrey die, which was a pleasant thing to happen. Not usually are we cheering for a child to die, but in this case, we all were, I think. Then we also get Tyrion's Trial, which is very interesting, where Oberyn tries to do the by combat thing and fights and loses to the mountain. Jaime lets Tyrion out. Tyrion ends up going and killing Shay and his father Tywin all at once. It's very interesting how all this takes place so quickly. Littlefinger saves Sansa. Hold on. Littlefinger saves Sansa from basically the Purple Wedding and gets her up to the Eyrie, where she is basically his bastard daughter. And we also see Lysa start to lose her shit a little bit more, because Lysa thinks that Littlefinger has a thing for Sansa, which he totally does. It's a Littlefinger, by the way. And so he boots Lysa through the moon door, and that starts that happy storyline going there. We also get to see Stannis and Davos kind of gather some ships and go north to the Night's Watch to help them out. They end up getting there and helping to round up the wildlings, but we haven't gotten there yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. There's a mutiny at Craster's Keep, where we also have Sam the Slayer end up having to leave, take Jilly to freedom, and saves her, and also helps out Bran get beyond the wall. On the other end of that, the mutiny happens, and that was a whole kerfuffle that ended up happening. Jon is traveling with the wildlings during this and ends up having to betray them and leave them in order to get back to Castle Black to defend it. In doing that, after defending Castle Black, he is named Lord Commander of the Night's Watch with a little help from his friends. It's phenomenal. I love that storyline. Jon's storyline is my favorite. We also have Daenerys, who meets Sir Barristan Selmy for the first time. He saves her from like a scorpion or something like that. And we also see her conquer some of the free cities, and she also gets her new Unsullied army. Now backtracking to Stannis. After Jon is at the wall, the wildlings attack. After the wildlings have attacked, it's been a really long night of fighting and stuff like that. Stannis does show up and help save the Night's Watch. The Night's Watch is not supposed to side with any kings. However, their pleas have gone unanswered by every king in the realm, and there are a lot of kings right now. And so to have Stannis show up there, that means that they can rely on him, and that to them he is the rightful king. So they do try to help out Stannis in ways that they usually wouldn't. So that's everything for my review of Storm of Swords. I think George was phenomenal in writing this. His character work was amazing. Storylines, phenomenal. Like I said, I think it's the end of the first act, because of everything that's kind of culminated to this point. And I think that like the second act is basically a Feast for Crows and a Dance with Dragons, setting up that third act for Dream of Spring and Winds of Winter, where we'll get our climax and ending. So there is that. I give the book 5 stars. It was one of the best books in the series. It took me the longest to read because there was just so much going on with it. And yeah. If you guys want me to do more Song of Ice and Fire content on here, please let me know, and I will dig deeper into a Song of Ice and Fire for you. Anyway, guys, that's everything from me today. You have a wonderful day. Take care.